What's going on, slave tards? Today, I'm going to do a video about hyperinflation, the end of the dollar, gold and silver, and protecting yourself, what's going on in this country right now. So first of all, I want to cover a story that to me is astonishing. That may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And it involves our idiotic president, Donald Trump. This guy's a moron. He's a complete moron. So this this article here, it's on Yahoo Finance. It says, U.S. may sell Fort Knox gold for Bitcoin. So the Trump administration is considering selling our strategic gold reserves in Fort Knox to buy Bitcoin, right? This would be like you taking your precious family heirloom jewelry and trading it for a bag of dog poop, right? It's basically the same thing. Right. It would be like you taking your precious, real items that are worth, lots of money and trading it in for a bag of garbage. Right. That's what Trump is, kind of proposing. And the reason why he's proposing it is because he's invested in crypto. Right. He's invested. It's self-preservation. It's for himself, right? Like, you're going to take an asset that has been money for 5,000 years, an asset in gold that central banks around the world can't get enough of right now because of debasements of the currencies of the world, right? There's a reason why gold has gone to $3,800 from like $1,000 just a few years ago, right? There's a reason why silver hit $44 today, right? There's a reason why precious metals are on the move upwards. Like silver's been up it's over 50% this year, right? Gold is, I think, over 40 or something like. It's been up a lot, right? There's a reason for this. And you may be saying, well, look at Bitcoin. It's been up too, it's been up more. But if you've noticed lately, that's starting to change. And as gold and silver get higher and higher, and less people are buying this digital air garbage, more and more people that own this digital air garbage are going to start to realize that they're in the wrong thing, and they're going to sell quickly and jump into the metals market. I'm telling you, right? You don't see the foreign adversaries of America buying Bitcoin, right? You don't see the foreign adversaries of the United States getting in crypto strategically. The only person talking about that is our idiot, President Trump. He's an idiot. He's a complete idiot, right? He doesn't understand that getting rid of our gold reserves will further weaken the dollar, right? It looks so weak. It would look so weak, right? If you saw Trump sell the gold in Fort Knox and buy Bitcoin, if you were fly on the wall, on our enemy's wall, Putin or China or, in the BRICS nations, you would see them laughing at how big of a fool our president is. So that to me was the most ridiculous thing I've heard ever. We're going to sell our strategic gold reserve, our gold assets, at a time all central banks around the world can't get enough and are buying it hand over fist. We're going to sell the thing that we own that's been money for 5,000 years and trade it in to air, digital air, right? Trade it in for nothing, right? It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Let me tell you something about Bitcoin. If the people in the U.S. are the only ones investing in Bitcoin and the rest of the world want real assets, the people in America will be left holding the bag. Let me tell you something right now. When collapse starts to happen, nobody's running to Bitcoin. It will be the first thing to collapse. It'll be the first thing to collapse, right? If you want to know my opinion on what to purchase right now, I would not be anything in anything paper. I just wouldn't, right? You've heard me gripe about how silver has not performed over the last 15 years and hasn't. But that's starting to change, right? And what is the gold to silver ratio right now? Let's just I'm gonna do it on average so I don't take a lot of time here. So let's say $3,800 gold, which is pretty close. It may be 3,800 divided by 44. Let's just round it. So it's at 86 right now. The gold to silver ratio is at 86 right now. Where silver comes out of the ground 9-1 or 10-1 maximum, right? And those of you understand why that is, why it's 86-1 when it comes out of the ground 9-1. It's because silver has not been anything but an industrial metal for decades, right? It's no longer a monetary metal. But that can change. That can change, right? You see gold going parabolic, and silver is starting to beat it by 50, 60, 70% on a daily average, the gains, right? Like today, gold was up like 2%, silver is up like 3%. That's 50% more. And if that continues, this gold to silver ratio will come down. And I believe as more and more people understand that the United States can never get out from underneath their debt, and the dollar is going to be worth less and less in the future, so much that it's accelerating, right? People have been asking for years, when is hyperinflation going to happen? It's happening right now, right? It's happening right now. It's happening as I make this video, right? I mean, the prices of everything is going parabolic, and the thing that's going up the most right now is gold and silver on a daily basis. Is Bitcoin going parabolic right now? No, it has in the past, but I believe that time is over, right? I've been wrong in the past, but I believe the time for fake digital assets and very risky, risk-on like investments, that's coming to an end, right? People are going to want safety and security, and it's about to get a very crowded market. That's about to be a very, very crowded market, right? There's not enough real assets for people to dump their trillions of dollars worth of crypto and paper assets to run into these things. There's not, right? And if you look at the valuation of like the S&P and the NASDAQ, it's never, ever been this inflated, right? It's never been this inflated in history. The PEs are out of this world. You look at companies like Tesla, right? Tesla were $1.3 trillion, and it's got a price per earnings ratio of 2 to 300. I don't know, it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. When other car companies, hover around 10 to 15 price per earnings, somehow Tesla is at like 300. I don't know. I have to go look the exact thing, but that will not last. That's not going to last, right? People will take profits in these things, right? You'll be okay if you buy companies that are not overvalued and that are going to be needed throughout, any of the bad times, food, energy, those kind of things. But it's hard to find stocks right now that are not way overvalued. But you know what is not overvalued? Right now, silver is not overvalued, right? It's silver right now. Silver to gold ratio is 86. 86. That means you can buy 86 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. Okay? Like, that's going to shrink. That's going to shrink. So yeah, I'm telling you, if I'm in silver pretty deep. I got several thousand ounces of silver. But I've been thinking about taking more of my cash reserves that I have been making interest on in short-term treasuries, like 1 month treasuries. Those treasuries are starting to yield less. And with silver up 50% this year, it's hard to justify making 4 or 5% on my money in government treasuries at a time where these things are getting more and more risky, right? Throughout history, throughout, my lifetime and most of, the history of the United States, U.S. treasuries and bonds were safety, right? They were the bedrock. They were the thing that couldn't fail. That, in this day and age, with $37 trillion of debt and exponential, payments on that debt being due, that's no longer the case, right? Everyone knows something drastic's going to have to happen. And you see these rumblings. This stuff used to be conspiracy theories, alt-right, like things that people were talking about in our community about, the death of the dollar and this and that. Now it's mainstream, right? Now you have articles all over all the time about Putin and all of our enemies throwing out these wild accusations that aren't so wild about how Trump is going to try to, do something with crypto to offset our $37 trillion of debt. And at a time when all this stuff is happening and our, president of the United States is putting all his faith in digital garbage air crap, which is going to exacerbate the problem with U.S. debt even farther. Our enemies are invested in gold. Our enemies are invested in real assets and silver. And central banks of our enemies are driving up the price of real assets because they understand how the world works. And our president, the idiot that he is, I voted for him too, but he's turned out to be a moron. Yeah. If I thought Trump was just giving lip service to the crypto crowd to get elected. I didn't, because he'd said in the past that he likes the dollar and he wasn't for Bitcoin. And, he's for the dollar and he wants to keep the dollar strong. And then he just does an about face because our president is an awful person who stands for nothing. And now all he cares about is some digital crap because his sons and his, grandsons who don't know any different, right, are into it. So anyway, what I'm saying is hyperinflation is happening right now. It's happening right now. The collapse of the dollar, we are already in the process and it is going to quicken, right? It's about to get faster. It's about to go at breakneck speed. So before it's too late, you better buy some silver and gold. I don't know if you've heard too much about it, but at $44 an ounce of silver, there's been not a lot of demand for physical silver. So if you're not dumb, you'll take advantage and go down to your local coin shop or your bullion dealer and pick you up some silver before it's too late. Peace.